How much money do you actually need to retire? It is the most common question in personal finance. Everyone wants a single number. They want a target like $1 million or $2 million. They think once they hit that number, they can stop working forever. This is a comforting idea. It gives us a finish line to run toward. But the reality of retirement planning is far more complex than a simple savings goal. We often treat retirement as a binary state. You are either working or you are not. You are either saving or you are spending. This binary view creates a massive gap in how we prepare for our later years. Here is the thing. Retirement is not a single event. It is a long transition from building wealth to using it. Most people spend decades in the accumulation phase. They save aggressively, they cut costs, they invest, they focus entirely on the growth of their portfolio. But very few people have a plan for the decumulation phase. This is the part where you actually spend the money you saved. This phase is often ignored until it is too late. The transition from accumulation to decumulation is a stochastic control problem. This means the outcome depends on random market movements and your specific decisions over time. It is not a guaranteed path. The traditional advice relies on something called the 4% rule. The idea is that you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio every year without running out of money. This sounds simple. It sounds safe. It has been the standard for decades. But recent research shows this number is not static. It changes based on market conditions and how much money you have when you start. It is not a universal constant. It is a dynamic variable that shifts with your specific financial situation. Monte Carlo simulations and optimal control models reveal that the safe withdrawal rate is not static but dynamically shifts based on the decumulation phase and market volatility, challenging the traditional 4% rule. There is a mathematical concept called bifurcation. This means a system splits into two distinct paths based on specific conditions. In retirement planning, your strategy depends heavily on your initial wealth. If you have a very high amount of savings when you retire, the math says you should retire early. You have enough buffer to absorb market drops. But if your savings are below a certain threshold, the optimal strategy is to keep working. You need to continue accumulating wealth before you start spending it. Think of this like driving a car with a limited fuel tank. If you start with a full tank, you can drive further without refueling. If you start with half a tank, you need to find a gas station sooner. In financial terms, the gas station is your income from work. For some people, the math says they cannot afford to stop working until their portfolio grows to a critical level. For others, they can stop immediately. There is no middle ground that works for everyone. This bifurcation means that a single savings target is suboptimal for the majority of people. Research into retirement planning reveals a shift from fixed rules to complex, individualized optimization strategies. A central theme across sources is the decumulation problem, where the primary goal is maximizing lifetime withdrawals while rigorously avoiding the depletion of savings, a risk that often outweighs the fear of death. This brings us to the core problem known as the decumulation problem. The fear of running out of money often outweighs the fear of death. People become so afraid of depletion that they spend too little. They live in poverty in retirement when they could have been comfortable. This is a risk that often outweighs the fear of death. The goal is not just to survive, but to maximize lifetime withdrawals. You need to spend your wealth without guilt. Theoretical models identify a critical bifurcation in optimal behavior. Individuals with high initial wealth retire early, while those below a specific wealth threshold must plan to work indefinitely, with a continuum of options existing only at the critical boundary. Now consider this. Most defined contribution plans focus on the accumulation phase. They tell you how much to save. They do not tell you how to spend. As these plans dominate the economy in G7 nations, the need for dynamic spending strategies becomes critical. You need to adjust your asset allocation as you get older. You cannot use the same risk profile at age 25 that you use at age 70. Future retirement readiness is increasingly dependent on algorithmic financial planning tools that can simulate personalized asset allocation strategies for individuals without millions in savings. What does this mean for you? It means you need a lifecycle strategy. You need rules that change over time. Early in your career, you take more risk to grow wealth. As you approach retirement, you reduce risk to protect what you have. But once you retire, the rules shift again. You might need to take more risk if you are worried about running out of money or less risk if you have enough. It depends on your specific situation. Emerging fintech solutions are shifting the paradigm from accumulation-focused to decumulation-focused planning, emphasizing how to sustainably spend down a portfolio rather than just how much to save. You also have to consider inflation. A dollar today is not worth the same as a dollar in 30 years. Many people fail to account for this. They plan based on today's prices, but the market can protect you if you structure your portfolio correctly. This requires tools that can simulate personalized asset allocation strategies. Algorithms can help you find the right balance between risk and liquidity needs. There is a significant knowledge gap regarding the practical application of these theoretical models. There is a lack of accessible, inflation-protected annuities for the average saver. It is difficult to translate abstract mathematical bifurcations into actionable advice for the average saver. This is where the gap lies. We have the theory, but we lack the tools to make it easy for everyone. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.